Let me now invite Mr. Pukhraj Juneja. Sir, you have been in the travel industry, and this is another industry which has seen a fair amount of disruption, not just revolution, I would say disruption over the years. COVID was one big crisis situation, I would say. I think the audience would love to hear the role that people and culture play in making any organization ready for such kind of disruptions or transformations.
Interesting. And obviously, like all of us know, transformations are very, very painful and complex processes, right? But if we had to talk specifically about the role of people and culture and why is it very important in the overall scheme of things when you undergo a transformational process, I will tell that to you in form of an experience that I had some time ago in my career. I was a part of an organization. But before that, I quickly want to talk about my leadership mantra. My leadership mantra has always been to embrace the servant leadership style. Because I personally feel if serving is below you, leadership is beyond you. So you need to serve, and specifically in my organization or in my teams, I follow a process wherein I serve my teams. So I need to figure out what exactly they need in terms of succeeding, and then it is my job to figure out how do I remove those roadblocks and make them work. That is one. And with people and culture as a background, there are 4 E's that I would typically embrace, which I think work during a transformative phase, and I will kind of stitch this together when I tell you my experience. The first E is evangelize. We need to obviously tell people, convince them why transformation is necessary, what is it going to bring in at the end of the day, and they have nothing to fear. So that is one side of it. The second is empower. If you are going to transform, you will have to also empower your people to take the right calls so that they can carry the agenda that you laid down for them to follow. Third is, which is very important, and I'm sure all of you will agree here, is emote and empathize. We need to understand where are people in terms of their emotions, their personal aspirations, where do they want to be, which is obviously one of the biggest reasons why most of the transformative processes fail. It's because the people and their attitudes and their mindsets. And the last one is eliminate. Eliminate roadblocks, not people. Okay, so these are the 4 E's that I think work pretty well if you consider people and culture in general. And by the way, in some of the organizations where I took charge as a executive, the first person I must tell you in the core team I hired was the head of people and culture, even before the operations team. The reason is because if you get the right people to do the job and you set the right culture, it invariably is a recipe for success. It's a bit like that MasterChef dish, which looks very messy. You look at the contestants, right, when the episode is running. They're all over the place. They don't know what ingredients to get, how to put together a dish. Then it's extremely messy. You look at their tables, you'll have all the ingredients strewn all over. They would be, you would not be able to imagine something good coming out of that table. And at the end, the MasterChef dish that they present in front of the judges is something like the transformative thing that finally comes out. After a lot of pain, that is in the background. However, having delved into this quite a bit, I will just tell you an experience. And I will start to tell you this experience not from a point that I achieved success, but from a point that I achieved failure. Because I think failure is something which teaches you much more. So we had in this organization a very, very good consultant that we hired to guide us. What are the transformative processes that we need to bring in, or if there is a transformation that is required in this organization. It's a large matrix organization, global MNC. And this gentleman creates a very compelling report, and he tells us that a lot is wrong in your organization and a lot needs to be fixed. And all of us, starry-eyed, and we thought this is something we need to do. This is going to be the emancipator for us. We'll be at the next level once we go down that path. And we took the report literally, and we decided that yes, this transformative process will work. And from the people's perspective, what that meant was that we swap a lot of roles We gave somebody a certain role. We gave somebody another set of, area to look after, which they were not actually originally looking at. 6 months down the line, we were scratching our head. We had gone backwards, and not by very less, actually by quite a bit. So now we are sitting down and we are scratching our heads and we are trying to figure out where did things go wrong. And somehow, in the entire mix of the things, not because I was extremely good at it, maybe because I had more bandwidth, I was given the charge to figure out what is wrong, to deep dive along with the people and culture team. So we formed a committee to figure out where are things going wrong. So the first thing I did was, from people's angle, I went and spoke to each one of the people who were a part of that process that we had implemented on the ground. I went to Mr. X. Mr. X told me, why the hell did we do this transformation? Why was it required? Everything was just fine. There was no need for transformation. That is one. Then I went to Mr. Y. He told me I was doing my job extremely well. Why did he move me to this new role? There's nobody who can do it better. Why are you giving me this set of, goals to deliver to the organization? All right. Then I went to the third person. The third person told me that I have a situation at home, and there is nobody to help us on this project. We are doing all the fighting ourselves. Me and my teams are under a lot of stress. So we can't do it anymore. Similarly, I talked to the fourth person and they had another view. I asked him, what is your problem? He said, I don't understand numbers. You've given me, a job which requires a lot of churning on numbers. I've done operations all my life. So this is when I'm going to stitch those 4 E's together. If you talk about Mr. X, he's not even evangelized. He's not even sure why this agenda needs to be driven. So the most important thing is, we need to convince people that there is need for transformation and it is good for each one of us. The second person says, I was doing a great job. That means we did not emote or empathize with him. He has resentment. He feels that the job he's been given is below him. He was doing a great job and we moved him as a demotion. So this is the second part. The third gentleman says, I don't understand numbers. Right? So it is an empowerment issue. You're asking somebody to run an agenda which they have no skill set for. They are not empowered to do that. And the fourth person says that we are having to do all the fighting ourselves, which means that they are not getting the support or somebody who is going to remove those roadblocks. So this is the learning that came out of there. And then finally we formed a committee. And now is the rosy picture emerging over the next few months. I was given charge of that project. I was working closely with each one of them. I tried to remove their roadblocks to whatever best I could, and the people and culture team worked very closely with me to manage mindsets, attitudes, and aspirations. Yeah. And finally, it became that master chef dish that I was earlier talking about.
Yeah, no way. I think how beautifully you gave an example to illustrate the 4 E's. And a lot of times we use jargons and abbreviations, but a lot of us don't even understand them. So really kudos to you to help the audience understand what you mean by those 4 E's and how it has helped you in a real life situation. So thank you so much for that.